In recent years, Aisha's age at the time of marriage to the Prophet ﷺ has become a favorite talking point of Islamophobes. But was her age always problematic? During the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his enemies would search for any way possible to harm and defame him. They called him crazy, spread false rumors about his wife committing adultery, and tried to kill him on multiple occasions. They took advantage of any opportunity to physically harm him or expose a potential flaw. So one would have to ask, if the age of Aisha was truly controversial, why didn't his contemporary enemies use it against him? The most important fact of Aisha's life is not that she married young. Her level of scholarship, her love for the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and her love for the religion of Islam are the most important aspects of her life. The conversation around Aisha's age is not that it exists, but that it is given so much weight, time, and attention. To focus on her age at marriage is to dim the light of her great contributions, contributions that made the transmission of this beautiful deen possible. Simply put, the modern controversy over the age of Aisha is an attempt to defame the Prophet as those of old attempted to do. In earlier times, the concept of childhood was different from today. Once puberty hit, those we call children today would work, get married, and have children of their own. How long the period of childhood lasts has varied over time and place. Different societal expectations, cultures, living conditions, environments of literacy have shaped how we relate to and understand the notion of childhood. Puberty marked the beginning of adulthood, whether at age 9 or age 15. Puberty was the time to talk about marriage. Historically, in most societies and time periods, childhood ended and adulthood began at puberty. Puberty might not be marker in modern social context, but it is biological marker of physical maturity. Marrying minors was normal in 7th century Arabia, the context of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was therefore not viewed as unethical. Ideas of puberty, maturity, and family law are influenced by culture and are thereof not universal. The contents of the Ayesha Age traditions were viewed as specific to the Prophet ﷺ and at the same time not seen as conflicting with universal ethical norms. This was because the consummation of the marriage apparently took place only when Aisha was physically ready, thereby not causing harm to her, which was the main ethical criterion in classical thought. Is there any appropriate age to get married? Here we have marriage age for women in different countries. India 18 years, Israel 17 years, Germany, Italy, Hungary, Scotland 16 years, Lithuania, Mexico 15 years, Vatican City, Paraguay 14 years. This proves that there is no consensus among the countries on the minimum age for marriage of women. This being the case, how can we possibly judge the age of Aisha at marriage as good, morally sound, acceptable or not? And how can we as Muslims allow a society with such varied opinions on this matter judge our Prophet's marriage when they can barely judge for themselves? If our opinions vary within the same time and culture, is it fair that we pass judgment on a 1400-year-old society with their own set of norms and expectations? So, what was the age of Aisha at marriage? Simply put, old enough. Marrying near the onset of puberty is not possible or preferable for most of us in a Western cultural context, and that's okay. We are not obliged to marry young or to get our daughters married young. We can hold our own cultural and individual opinions about the age one ought to get married. But we must stop pretending that this is a moral position. It's one based on circumstances. Islamophobes who talk about the age of Aisha when she got married conveniently ignore the other hadiths narrated by Aisha herself, which speak about her marriage to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She narrates how happy their marriage was, how they used to race together, the great love they shared, and how the Prophet passed away in her lap. Her narrations clearly show it was a very happy and successful marriage. The controversy around her age prevents us from discussing her legacy and contribution to Islam, her life in marriage to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, her knowledge and her wisdom. Aisha is so much more than the child bride the enemies of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam attempt to paint her as. She was a saint, a sage, and a scholar. Can we please make that legacy the bulk of our discourse around this amazing woman?